Guys, I'm back for part 3 of our happiness series that we're doing throughout November, kind of in connection to the idea of thankfulness and gratitude for Thanksgiving. I want to build up to that with some ideas related to happiness. And so we started off with the idea, just the idea that you are in part responsible for your own happiness, that there's no such thing as just being born an optimist or born a pessimist, but that we train our brains to see the world the way that we do. So if your happiness is not in a place where you want it to be, don't blame yourself or feel bad about that. But know that you can take some steps to move you in a direction towards greater happiness. And so last week I gave 2 ideas on how you can do that. I talked about having a gratitude list of just listing out the things that you're grateful for, and that helps train your brain to be looking for things to be grateful for. And then the other one was having something to look forward to. And just thinking about something exciting that you have coming up, or in terms of our religion, even thinking about the great reward at the end. And I want to talk about 2 more today. The first one is committing acts of kindness. This is one that studies have shown over and over again, but that Christians didn't need a study to tell us. This is one of the foundations of our faith. This is committing acts of kindness is something we should be doing all the time, every day, and that doing so is a great reward for us. The Bible is full of kind of situations and examples that lead us to the lesson that the greatest way that you can be blessed is to be a blessing to others. Well, science has done nothing but confirm that biblical truth for us. And so one of the things psychologists recommend that they have seen prove useful over and over again in studies is committing to a particular day to do multiple acts of kindness over and over that day. You pick one day a week and do 5 acts of kindness that day. Not things that, like, at the end of the day you look back on like, oh yeah, that counts. But like intentional thing, like, I'm going to do 5 things today. Start off with that goal at the beginning of the day. And commit 5 acts of kindness throughout that day. The happiness that you gain from being a blessing to others lasts throughout the rest of the week. That it's a happiness that carries over for multiple days when we're doing good things for other people. So I highly recommend that you give that a try, even if you're already in a happy place and aren't trying to work towards greater happiness in your life. It's just something that we as followers of Jesus are supposed to be doing anyway. So whether you do it out of duty or out of a desire for greater happiness, it's something that should be part of your life on a regular basis, performing acts of kindness for others. And the second one that I want to talk about today, some people will get excited about this and some people will not, exercise. There's not a whole lot of biblical grounds for this one, mostly because sitting around and being lazy is a relatively recent and relatively American invention. During the times that the Bible was written, the luxury of sitting around and being lazy was only provided to the most wealthy, and everyone else, lazy was not a choice. So sitting and not getting physical exercise was not a choice. They had to. This is one today now, the luxury that we have of having the choice of doing quite a bit of sitting around and not doing much of anything. We now have to make the choice to make sure that we're going to be physically active. So sorry, I'm hiding from the kids out in the car. It's a little hot. Whew. So exercise, I mean, you probably have heard before the idea that exercise releases endorphins, which are chemicals in your brain they're pleasure-inducing chemicals. And when we exercise, it sets some of those endorphins free and makes our brains feel good. What's interesting is that can last for a pretty long time. Not only that, but it's a very, very powerful release. In fact, one study showed that they had 2 groups of people who were, every person in each of these groups were all experiencing depression, and they had some of the people, they had one group take antidepressant medication, and then one group not take medication and just exercise. And they were pretty amazed to find that both groups reacted pretty much exactly the same. The numbers came out exactly the same on the effectiveness of exercise versus antidepressant medication. You can perform exercise and it works just as well as taking those medications. Now again, everything is going to work different for everybody. I want to say, oh, look, see, it's easy. Why are you depressed? I don't want to make light of depression. But scientific research has shown that exercise can play a pretty important role in helping people to feel better. So not only did the group that exercised feel just as good as the group that was on antidepressant medication, but they later they took everybody off of whatever they were doing, whether it was the medication or the exercise. They told them to stop doing it, and then asked or kind of remeasured their happiness a week later. And most of the people who had been on the antidepressant medications had relapsed back into depression, whereas a much higher rate of the people who had exercised during that time had been able to keep from relapsing back into depression. So those endorphins, it's not just a moment of happiness that we experience from that exercise. It appears to be, at least according to this study, appears to be a pretty long-lasting impact that having exercise as part of our lives can provide. So again, your brain can change, but you are responsible for taking those steps to try to move it in the right direction. So don't look back on the past and beat yourself up if your level of happiness isn't where you want it to be, but move forward. Take those steps forward and perform some of these things that I'm talking about, and see what do you have to lose. If you're not happy right now, what do you have to lose by taking a chance and trying to add some of these things into your life that science has shown have an impact on our happiness and the ability to rewire our brains. Put them to work and see how it goes. Amen. Love you guys. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later.